Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at some options for mounting your Garmin Catalyst into your car. The magnetic mount that ships with your Catalyst that's attached to the suction cup mount for your windshield is actually very strong. It takes quite a bit of pressure to knock it off, but you can knock it off. And because of that, a lot of organizations will require you to have it both tethered and more securely mounted if you are taking it down on track. So today we're going to look at a couple of options. The first one we're going to look at is the Ram Cage Mount that Garmin sells. It's a very sturdy unit. Gives you a couple different locations where you can attach a tether. Made out of strong ABS plastic. You simply slide the Garmin Catalyst into the mount and it catches with the latch on the left-hand side. Very easy to take it in and out of the car. Catches using the same magnetic mount. But once it's in, it's fairly sturdy, but you can knock it out. And because of that, some organizations still require you to either wrap a zip tie around it or to mount it completely securely so you can't knock it off while you're driving. Even though it's unlikely, it's still a possibility. So one way to more securely mount it is to use the second half of the cage mount, which is this clip that clips on and then bolts in on the left-hand side, which makes it so that you can't use that quick release. Now it is more securely mounted, more like a permanent mount this way. But it also means that it's less convenient because you do often want to take your device out of your car so you can review footage and work on things. And that really leaves the option of unplugging it and then separating it at the ball joint. Certainly a possibility, not the easiest solution, but certainly is a solid one. So if you think that you find that you leave the device mostly in your car, that may be the way to go. Another option is to use a 3D printed mount, such as this one. I've seen that offered at trackside at a couple of locations. I think they have it at the Pro Shop at VIR, but you could also download it. We'll include a link down in the notes to this video. And you could just print it yourself. It's a simple 3D printed part. It takes a couple hours to print. We modified it, put a hole in the bottom just so we could attach this carabiner to make it easier for our tether attachment once we get it in the car. But this is also a very effective mount and very secure. You'll see that it's using the same magnetic clip. So once you feed the bottom in, it just jumps in and is solid. If you want to remove it, you still can. You just have to pry off the top. And you'll see we're reusing the ball joint. The only thing you had to buy additional was slightly longer bolts because you reused that ball joint from the back of your stock mount. And then when you wanted to remove it from the car, you just have to unclip it. We'll have to see after we get some long-term wear tests how well it holds up. You know, ABS, this kind of plastic may not last so well in a hot car. So here we have it then installed inside the car. You see we've hidden the wiring. We run the wire from the camera, ignore that Wayland's dash cam there. There's the camera for the Catalyst. We hid the wires within the dash. We're using the hide wire kit, so it's hooked to the ignition. And then we've also run a tether so that we can clip onto the back of it, whether we're using this cage mount or we're using the 3D mount. And that tether is designed so if the whole thing falls off, it's going to fall into the footwell of the passenger. It's not going to fall to the feet of the driver, which is ultimately what you want to avoid. You want it to avoid coming off unexpectedly and getting underfoot. So there we see it with the clip. And in here, if you wanted to put that attachment on and make it a little bit more permanent, you would see what it would be like. You'd have to separate it at that ball joint if you really wanted to get it in and out of the car. So it's fairly easy to use with the clip. So the other option then is to use that 3D printed clip instead. So here it is in the car. You see how it mounts up. Similar, takes up less space. We click the carabiner on it, and if that whole thing falls off at the ball joint, it's falling to the passenger side. And now you can see it with the whole thing in place. It's a very clean installation. Looks really good. All these parts you can basically put together using what comes in your kit. You've got the ball joint, comes on the back of the magnetic mount. You've got a separate ball joint that I screwed in here to the dash, or you could use the suction cup mount. Both of those are in your basic kit. The one thing I did swap out, you'll see that short link there connecting the car to the first dog bone. That's from the kit, and then I've got a longer one that I bought on Amazon. They're available. It's a standard 25 millimeter 1-inch ball. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you got some enjoyment out of this and see options for mounting your own.